Alright, hello. Let's talk about Ant-Man. All right. I just want to say these are my newer thoughts on Ant-Man, like the whole origin story and just Ant-Man info in general. Okay, I recently made a video called Ant-Man Movie News, and I judged the story a little too harshly, and didn't know much about the Ant-Man whenever I made it. So I just want to kind of take some of those opinions back, but I don't want to erase that video because I still made some points that I want to keep in there. And I still honestly believe what I said in that video. My opinion's just a little bit higher for Ant-Man. Okay, hold on. Let me take it through. Alright, sorry there. Okay. I didn't write anything down or anything. It was kind of going off the top of my head, but I remember it pretty vividly as I just read some of the comic books and just read some crap. Alright? Hank, his last name is P-Y-M. I think that's pronounced Pime or Peem or Pume or something. However you pronounce that, it's Hank. And, so Hank is somewhat of a mad scientist. I mean, he's a guy who's borderline crazy. He's really close to becoming a super villain. You can almost get that vibe from him as soon as you start reading about him. He's just really weird. He's like laughing and stuff, like all, like the evil mad scientist laughed and crap. He's really kind of weird. And he's testing all kinds of, crap off and stuff. And, all these experiments and, serums and crap. And he's gifted with great intelligence, but that comes along with a bit of a craziness. Like, people often say the Joker isn't crazy. He's just super intelligent at a very, strange, almost horrible, demented way. That's what people say, a lot about, like, people that are considered psychopaths. They say they're just really, really beyond extreme and intelligent. They may seem dumb on the outside, but they can read people well. They can almost read minds, like almost literally. Like the Joker, they say, just has a super sanity rather than just being a crazy man. There's a lot of cases that are like that. That's kind of what the Ant-Man is, but he's, not exactly a super villain. So he wants to be recognized in the, science world and stuff. So he tries to invent, he tries and succeeds to create what do you call those things? A super shrinker or something, or shrink ray, I guess you could call it, some kind of serum. And he successfully shrinks a chair, and he finds out that the serum works, and he's really excited with himself. But he eventually decides to test the serum on himself, and he puts a drop on his wrist, and this guy, becomes super small, and he soon realizes that his normal strength hasn't gone away. He's almost a little bit stronger, even though he's smaller. And he, cries and screams for help, but no one can hear him because he's so tiny. But he draws the attention of a bunch of ants, which, there's like a very friendly ant that's pretty intelligent, and we find out it's a whole take on kind of like the Ant Bully movie about like how there's these ants and we don't realize it, but they can like talk to each other and they're intelligent and all this stuff. And this friendly ant saves him, and he tries to hide from them in the ant hill, but of course that's the worst place you could hide from ants, an ant hill. And he just gets freaked out. So he goes back to his lab or whatever once he gets himself back to normal size, because the ants help him get back to his lab. Because, he came out the window and he just goes right back in. I think that's a kind of stupid thing to do, though, just leave the window wide open with all this military and, expensive, extraordinary, one-of-a-kind, experimental crap in there. It's kind of a really stupid thing to do. But anyway, so he comes back and he's freaked out and wants an experience like that to never happen again. So he pours the serum stuff down the drain and tries to get rid of it forever. And this is where I when I was reading, honestly thought that it was going to be like there was an ant in the drain or something, and that's how this happened. Like, but that's, I don't know, and like it's something like that, but that's not what happened at all. That's what I thought was going to happen. But something happens, and he decides to remake the serum, and he realizes that he acted harshly, and he becomes obsessed with ants, and how everybody misjudges them. So he buys ant hills, like ant farms and crap, and just studies ants and how they work and how they move and stuff. And he realizes that the ants talk to each other through like a kind of like a supersonic wave that they send from antenna to antenna. So he makes a weird helmet thing with these antennas that he can, talk to ants with and stuff. And, it makes him, it makes him so that he can't die from any bug bite. That's pretty much what he does there. So he's got, like, the helmet and crap, and, now he knows how to shrink himself down, and he's got super strength even when he's small, which is a pretty cool thing about him. But, eventually he becomes, we start to see more of the mad scientist part of him come out, and he makes, like, a whole suit, basically. And then he pretty much just becomes Ant-Man from there. He ends up shrinking himself down and getting in a fight with, like, the lead ant or whatever that thinks it's the Ant King. And he wins, of course, and, like, throws him around. And then all the other ants worship him as, like, a leader or a god. And like I said in the past video, which I didn't even know, I just guessed off the top of my head, now he can control these ants, and he can, at will, make them, like, carry people away and stupidness. Like, he controls all the ants now. And, it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the movie, but it's just kind of a stupid concept and stuff. Like, the whole thing sounds like a rejected superhero parody movie concept. Seriously, imagine a movie that's kind of like a scary movie ripoff, with a bunch of superheroes on the front, kind of like the movie Superhero Movie. That movie was ripping off Spider-Man. That's what I imagine, and you can just imagine the title being Ant-Man, and it's like he's just sitting there with, like, his legs up in the front row of, like, a movie theater, eating popcorn or something stupid. Like, Ant-Man, it just sounds so stupid. But overall, Ant-Man seems pretty cool. There's alternative versions to the origin and different characters who have become Ant-Man and stuff. And, some people have taken advantage in a kind of bad way of the Ant-Man powers. But overall, I think the real Ant-Man is the original. Well, I guess you can call him the original. He's from the 60s. Ant-Man, I judged him too harshly. So, like, comment, and subscribe, and look into Ant-Man. Yeah. Ant-Man. Oh, before I go, I have to mention, he was literally, he was in the Avengers. He worked with Hulk, Iron Man, all these people, amongst some of the greats. Like, how have I never heard of this guy till a couple days ago? I don't understand. Ant-Man. Ant-Man. Wow. Ant-Man.